Hello friends, welcome to LeggLife, and this is by far one of our most requested videos.
Today, we are telling you our love story.
Ooh.
Adam and I met online in like 1996.
And meeting online that long ago was very different than meeting online today. We actually met through an AOL pen pal program. And so the first several years of our friendship was just like writing letters back and forth.
So there was a lot of handwritten letters, there was a lot of emails, there was a lot of AOL Instant Messenger, AIM, for those of you of a certain age.
Yep.
It was like the precursor to texting.
Very much so. And it really was just a friendship. I mean, we were teenagers, right? Like, Sherry was like my friend in Indiana. And so we just stayed connected that way for years and years.
Like 7 years.
Yeah. And over that time, we were both in different relationships. Sherry had boyfriends, I had girlfriends, and we just kind of remained friends through it all. It was never anything romantic. We were just friends.
Yeah.
So along with like letters and cards and stuff, we would occasionally send like boxes and packages back and forth to each other. And my favorite all-time package I ever received from Sherry, she was working at the Olive Garden at the time. And back then, Alaska didn't have an Olive Garden. So like Olive Garden was this like far off like fantasy place filled with never-ending pasta and delicious breadsticks. And so Sherry actually mailed me a box with Olive Garden salad dressing and some other things in it.
Pictures.
The problem is that the Olive Garden salad dressing opened in the box. And so at my door arrives this soggy Olive Garden
delicious
Italian dressing smelling box of photos that are now warped by dressing.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely my favorite box you ever sent me.
I did pack it, but it didn't work.
No, you did. Apparently you did a great job packing it. So after several years of that being our relationship, just being friends, sending stuff back and forth, talking on the phone, I had a pretty serious relationship end, and Sherry was one of the friends that I reached out to and that kind of I reconnected with.
And that reconnection is kind of when we knew that there might be more than friendship there.
Wait, are you saying there were?
I thought you were cute.
Oh.
So in June of 2003, one of my best friends and I decided to come up to Alaska and meet this guy in person.
So I was working at a hotel at the time and actually was on shift when Sherry and her friend flew in. So I had another friend meet them at the airport and pick them up and bring them to the hotel I was working at.
So technically, I know Elisa.
You've known her in person
I've known her
longer than you've known me.
That
is true. So at this point, Sherry and I have been talking for about 7 years as friends. And
phone calls and emails.
Phone calls and emails and letters and all that kind of stuff. And again, just really friendship. And I remember the first night you came to the hotel when I saw you, like, I couldn't look at her. Like, I couldn't make eye contact because it was so weird. Because remember, for 7 years, what I knew of her was her voice, right? And now all of a sudden I'm seeing that voice that I'm super familiar with, like, come out of a face. And it's so weird because you had never been a face to me. You'd always been a voice to me.
Right.
And so, like, that whole night, like, I was so, and you guys know, like, I'm kind of, like, extroverted and this is normal to me. Like, I was just like, hi, Sherry. Thanks for coming to Alaska.
He got off work at like 11 p.m. that night. And so Abby and I and you and like we all went back to his place with his roommate and whatever. And so he and I sat out on his balcony at his apartment like all night and just talked. But we just sat like this.
And like both looking
just,
forward.
Like, looked straight ahead because it was so weird to watch this mouth move. Like, I knew the voice and I knew I just, it was weird.
It was strangely, it was
really
like
weird.
It was strange because it was like super familiar yet completely new.
Yeah.
And so like all night long we sat up all night talking yet not looking at each other. And that's one of the things I will say. I actually think, when people talk about like our marriage and why do we have such a great relationship, I genuinely credit the first 7 years where we got to just be friends.
Yep.
Like meeting online that long ago, there was no like swiping right. There was no like, do you like my profile, like smash or pass? None of that kind of stuff.
No.
Like it was just like you got to be my friend and I got to be your friend. And so we developed this like level of communication that still today, like, we communicate great.
Right.
And so
we can talk about anything because we spent 7 years talking about
that's all we did.
Anything.
Was just talk.
Right.
And but it was weird, like, when we were first together, to see, like, words coming out of
We had no trouble actually talking. Like, we talked all night, but it was just like
this.
Just stare straight ahead.
So, how are you doing, Sherry?
Once in a while.
This is Alaska. And I'd like look over and then look away real quick. So in the time that Sherry was up here visiting Alaska, we actually got to go on our first official in-person date.
So now we're at the location of our very first date.
The building is a little bit different. I'm going to show you right now. So now it's Kid to Kid, which is like a child clothing resale place and a Mac store. It used to be a Denny's. Yeah, I don't want to brag, but I kept it pretty classy on our very first date. Question, do you remember what you ordered on our first date?
No.
I know what I ordered on our first date.
Probably moons over my hammy.
It was moons over my hammy. Not because I actually like the meal. I just really like saying moons over my hammy.
Yeah. I think the only reason we came to Denny's, though, is because it was super late at night, like 11 p.m. midnight, and I think it was probably the only place that was open in town.
Also, it's a very romantic first date spot.
I mean...
bottomless coffee for like $1.
Well...
you love coffee.
It's true.
After our first date, when I had sufficiently seduced you with my charming awkwardness, I had to fill up the vehicle with gas, and so we stopped by a gas station. Guys, I do not recommend buying a lady on your first date a gift from a gas station. However, this one worked a little bit. Sherry, what amazing gift did I buy you from a gas station?
He bought me a rose.
Kind of sweet. Of all of the things I could have bought you from a gas station, a corn dog, like some Twizzlers, beef jerky, a rose, probably.
Like
it's
the
at
top
least
of the romantic
up
scale,
there.
Right.
It falls somewhere between Twizzlers and beef jerky.
Better than a corn dog.
Better than a corn dog, just below Twizzlers. And here is the gas station where the famous Love Rose was purchased. Sure, don't laugh at the Love Rose.
So I visited Alaska for 9 days, and after that 9 days, and getting to spend that time with him, we knew that there could be something more. But living in me in Indiana and him in Alaska just would have made it really difficult to cultivate a relationship. So that was June of 2003, the end of June, kind of crossing over into the beginning of July. And then in August, actually 14 years ago this week, I moved up here.
So obviously when Sherry moved to Alaska, like, we were in a relationship, we were dating, and then the following spring of 2004, about March, we went back to Indiana for my first time. This was kind of my first chance to meet all of your family.
Right.
And I knew that it was really important to Sherry and to her family that I asked her dad for his blessing in person. That it wasn't something that was done, over a phone call or over an email or letter. Right. And so my plan was to ask on that trip, because the reality was I didn't know when we were going back to Indiana. Right. And so even though I didn't plan on proposing to you right away, I knew this might be, like, this was the chance to do it in their living room. Mm-hmm. And so I asked her dad. Her dad said, yes, thanks, Jerry. But one of the things I think your dad did say is, they weren't comfortable with that happening right then,
right.
Which wasn't the plan anyway.
And we weren't comfortable with that happening right then
either.
Exactly.
So I asked her dad and got his blessing in March of 2004. And then it was actually in December of 2004 that I planned our engagement.
So my parents were coming up in December of 2004 for a visit. And Adam planned what I thought was just a really nice dinner at the Crow's Nest at the Captain Cook Hotel.
Up here, right, in that corner of the tallest tower is the Crow's Nest restaurant. That is where I asked Sherry Beth Amstutz to be my wife. Captain Cook is like super nice, probably the nicest hotel in town. And I had the perfect excuse because this was kind of the first time, like, it was a really nice holiday kind of dinner with your parents and my parents right before Christmas. And so, like, it wasn't odd that we would have done a nice dinner together. Right. But it was not just a nice dinner together. So I actually reserved, like, this corner room at the Crow's Nest, which is probably the nicest restaurant in Anchorage. Fun fact, Harrison Ford actually reserved that same corner room we were in, like,
couple
weeks before. So that's kind of fun. So the Crow's Nest is at the top of one of the towers of the Captain Cook Hotel. And we were all down in the lobby, all of our parents, everyone was there. And we were looking at this big gingerbread village that they build every Christmas season. And I told Sherry, I was like, hey Sherry, let's go up and make sure the room's ready before we have all the parents come up. Like, let's just go check on everything, make sure it's ready. Yeah, and Sherry's like, sure, that's normal, let's go. Obviously, I had planned it all ahead. Crow's Nest staff knew what I was doing, so they had the room all set up. They had 2 glasses of champagne on the table. They had this little scrapbook that I made Sherry, and they knew what was going on. My parents knew what was going on. Sherry's parents knew what was going on. Sherry had no idea what was going on.
So he had made this scrapbook that he wrapped, and then he was like, I think that you should open this and see it. He told me it was for my parents. And I was like, I'm not going to open their gift. Like, it's fine. And he was like, no, I really want you to open it. And I was just like, okay. So I opened it and, like, tried really carefully, like, not to rip it so we could, like, put it back together.
By the way,
he said it was for my parents.
We're in a room at the nicest hotel, in the nicest restaurant, in this luxurious corner booth, corner suite,
champagne.
with 2 glasses of champagne at the edge of the table. I think there were like some flower petals. It's clearly, and Sherry I'm not
very smart.
So please continue with the scrapbook.
So I'm just like, okay, this is weird that he's making me open my parents' gifts, but okay. So then I'm looking through it, and it's all pictures of us with like cute little like love sayings and cute little, and I was like, I mean, this is really cute, but it's a little awkward to give my parents.
I remember you saying, like a couple days later, I was asking you like what you were thinking as you were looking through the scrapbook, and you said, I thought this is a weird gift to give my parents.
It was really weird. So I'm like flipping through, and I get to the last page, and it says, will you marry me? And then I was like, this is not for my parents.
It was not for your parents.
And then cue the shakes.
Sherry, so this is my favorite part. Like, I get down on my knee and I pull out the ring.
Like as I turn this last page.
Like as she turns the last page, I drop down to my knee and I get out the ring. And Sherry's reaction is just, like, she just starts to shake and cry. Like, just shaking and crying. Which, like, as a guy, you're looking for some sort of positive, like, this is going the right direction. Shaking and crying is hard to say. It's like, is this good, or like, is there a doctor around? And so fortunately, though, I asked Sherry if she would marry me, and you said
yes.
Yes. So our parents.
Actually, I think it said yes.
It was definitely not. Yeah, it was definitely more like that. So at that point, obviously, our parents had come up the elevator to the, like, kind of the front desk of the restaurant, and they were like sending waiters by the room to see if I had proposed yet, to give them like updates. So as soon as it was clear that like all systems were go, there's a ring on the finger, then like all the family came back, and it was just it was an amazing night.
It was.
I'm kind of surprised she said yes.
So that was December 22nd, 2004. We were engaged for almost exactly 9 months. We got married September 23rd of 2005.
We were actually married right here in the top of the middle tower, and then our reception was on the other side of this tower. And we actually had a super small wedding. I think we had like 17 people at our wedding total. And the reason we did that is that it was really important to us that the people that were at our wedding, like, we viewed it like really as like a covenant kind of ceremony. And we wanted the people there that if something ever happened in our marriage, like, those are the people that we felt would really run to us, right? Like, those are the people that are going to run into the fire. And for us, that's who we wanted at our wedding. And so I really loved our wedding. It felt very much like us, which was really great.
Very simple. Very pretty.
Very simple, very pretty, ton of fun. We did have a big reception in Indiana like 1 week later. So we actually took just a really short honeymoon. We went to Seattle for just a few days between our marriage in Alaska and our reception in Indiana.
Next month, we will be celebrating our 12th anniversary, which is crazy.
And we're super excited to like continue our love story. We can genuinely say that every year of marriage, it just keeps getting better. Yep. And so we cannot wait to see what future years hold. So you guys, that is our love story. We met on AOL. We stayed friends through writing letters and phone calls and sending Olive Garden soaked boxes back and forth for a number of years. Sherry visited Alaska and then moved to Alaska 5 weeks later. We dated for 16 months. We were engaged for 9 months. We got married, and now we've been married for almost 12 years. It's a pretty cool story.
Yeah. So that is our love story. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you have not. And if you love, Give this video a thumbs up.